Hello everyone, it's First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton here. Thanks for joining us online as we track a very active weather day ahead. As y'all know, if you have any questions, I've got the comment section pulled up here, so please feel free to comment your location, any questions you guys have. I'll do my best to answer, but we've got a lot to talk about weather-wise, so let's go ahead and dive right into our forecast. Right now, I wanted to give you guys a couple live looks across parts of the state. You can see here in Pikeville, definitely some slick conditions as we've been continuing to track that rainfall. High water just on the other side of the roadways. We've also been seeing a lot of issues for our friends in parts of Whitley County, definitely down on I-75. This is a look at the Kentucky-Tennessee border. Slick conditions. You can see that pooling water just off the side of the road. This isn't even an area where we're kind of worried about seeing high water, but we're already starting to see that pooling water on the side of the road. Same time, Mount Vernon, we've also seen a lot of muddy conditions. Look at the part in between the two roads, right? Where we usually see some luscious green grass, muddy conditions, water is starting to pool. So if you are headed out the door, make sure you're taking things extra slow. But let's dive into what I know everyone wants to focus on right now, and that is our current status for flood watches and warnings. Now, the whole state is under a flood watch at the moment. That's going to last until 1 o'clock tomorrow. Here's a look at your First Alert Weather Radar network. Lexington, we're getting some rain, but we're not getting the heavy stuff yet. Where you see all those green boxes, that's your flood warnings. I want to focus in for our friends in eastern Kentucky. They've been getting a lot of rain so far. These green boxes that you can see popping up here are flood warnings that are now in effect, as well as flash flood warnings for our region. We're also seeing a lot of issues for our friends in parts of southern Kentucky. I just showed you I-75 Kentucky-Tennessee border. You saw some slick conditions, but it's starting to move up and out towards our friends in London, Manchester, McKee are all starting to see some of that heavier stuff. Here in the next couple hours, the heavy bands of rain that have been impacting areas like Corbin, where they've seen a lot of flooding and even a couple accidents, that is going to shift up towards central Kentucky, getting closer towards matching up along I-64. Here's a look at your current flood watches across the state. That, again, is going to last until 1 p.m. on our Sunday. Just because the rain will be stopping tomorrow morning doesn't mean that your flood watch is going to expire. You've got to wait and watch out for, obviously, the parts of the river to crest. I was on the phone with emergency management officials from Breathitt County earlier today. They were talking about how their river, parts of the Kentucky River, isn't going to crest until 7 p.m. on Sunday. So things to keep in mind. Now, I wanted to point out two specific areas here. We've got a flash flood warning in Bell, Clay, Harlan, Knox, Leslie, and Perry counties, as well as a lot of those flood warnings. Now, I know that they're all the same color, so it's kind of hard to distinguish, but do you see those tiny green lines? That's areas where we've been seeing some high flood waters, especially for parts of Estill County and Lee County. We've been tracking the Kentucky River as it gets ready to split in towards the north and south fork of the Kentucky River. It's been rushing a little high. We've been looking at a couple recent hydraulic outlooks and hydrographs, definitely causing us some problems for our area. So if you are near any of those regions that are currently under a flash flood warning or a flood warning, make sure you're seeking higher ground. Don't be on the roadway unless you have to. I wanted to also show you all some of our rainfall estimates in the past 72 hours. Now, I backed it up a little bit versus just this event because I wanted to show you just how saturated we currently are. Right now, some of our friends in southern portions of the state, they picked up a lot of rainfall, like you can see in this short period of time. 4.9 inches as we look towards Whitley County down near the Tennessee border. Like I said, Somerset, we've seen close to 4 inches of rain. Our friends over in parts of western Kentucky have been getting the brunt of a lot of that heavy rainfall, and it's just the beginning. Again, we're continuing throughout our forecast today. Things you want to keep in mind for your forecast. We are talking about 2 to 6 inches of rain total from this entire event. The main reasons we're talking about flooding is because of this excess of rainfall. You're going to see some high water concerns as well as the potential for flash flooding. We've seen already a couple flash flooding events, especially along the Kentucky-Tennessee border. That's going to persist for our day as well. So just watch out for those flash flooding events. And then we're talking about low-lying areas, river flooding, things like that that we also want to keep our eye on as well. So just make sure you're staying weather aware if you're near a body of water that's been rushing a little higher for our skies. Let's walk through what's going to happen for the rest of the day. Here at the 1:30 hour, we got those heavy storms again south of I-64. Like I mentioned, they're going to start to shift, pushing a little farther north, giving us some heavier rain up towards parts of Madison County, Boyle County. That's already picked up their own amount of rainfall today. Good amount. Lexington, Frankfort, Franklin County, Moorhead, Mount Sterling, A lot of those areas that have been just seeing consistent rain are now going to shift to some heavier rain. Areas that have been seeing some flooding concerns, like parts of Whitley County, Pulaski and Laurel counties, Harlan County, they're going to get a little bit of a break around dinner time. But we got to watch this line of storms because, like I said, it has the potential to turn severe. In fact, our severe risk has been updated for our day today. Look at how that line starts to get strong on the front edge of the system. As it continues on, we're going to watch that line of storms organize itself and then push across the sky in the overnight. That's going to bring about some strong wind gusts. Some thunder and lightning will be rumbling with the system as it pushes through. And then while rain is on the back half, it's also ushering in some colder air. By the time we're talking on Sunday, look at that. We've got cold rain front half of the system, freezing rain in the middle part of the system, snow on the back edge of the system. That's going to persist throughout a good chunk of our Sunday morning. Then we get a few more snow chances popping up throughout our Sunday afternoon. As you can see, a lot of areas that we're seeing those high water concerns, like parts of Perry County, Harlan County, Pike County, Letcher County, they're now shifting to see some snow by Sunday evening in our forecast. Talk about a very busy weekend. So I promised you all that we got an update from our severe risk. Originally, it was just marginal. It's now been upgraded to a slight risk for our friends in parts of Bowling Green. You can see areas shaded in green, marginal. Just because it's on the low end doesn't mean you're not going to see any activity. Main concern, thunder, lightning, flooding rains, flash flooding, and of course damaging winds as that system starts to push out of our skies, bringing in some strong wind gusts for our area. Definitely causing some concerns and problems for our skies. So just some things to keep in mind. Here's a list of today's heavy rain threat. Now this is also kind of similar for what we're looking at for the severe risk. They also issue something called an excessive rainfall outlook. And it's very abnormal for us to see something of this intensity here for our excessive rainfall outlook. They've upgraded it as of yesterday to high to include our friends in Elizabethtown, Bowling Green. We're under a moderate, and don't be fooled by the term moderate. It still means we are going to see some real water concerns. Excessive rainfall, our peak time has really it's the whole day, but this specific rain threat is going to continue to peak from 2 to 10 as those storms get really locally heavy. They turn from widespread to locally heavy in our skies. This is our rainfall forecast as of right now. Again, areas could see locally higher, but we've already started to pick up a lot across the region. Again, Pulaski and Laurel County have been getting the brunt of some activity. We've seen some crashes in parts of Corbin, Whitley County, definitely some damage. Perry County, we've gotten a few reports of some high water rescue. So definitely make sure y'all staying safe. I wanted to show you all as well the two separate model outlooks we were looking at for rainfall this weekend. Here's a look at what we're saying for the European model. It's saying a little closer from 2 to 4 inches with a lot of that heavier rain sticking around in areas like Lexington, Lawrenceburg, Danville, Frankfort. I mean, Danville has been getting a lot of rain already. They are going to continue to track some heavy rainfall. Here's another model outlook saying, again, upwards of 4 inches in Lexington alone, as well as upwards of 4 inches in parts of Lawrenceburg and Elizabethtown. So severe weather threat. Focus for as you head into the afternoon right now. We are tracking moderate wind risk and major flooding issues. That's what we want to focus on. Flash flooding concerns have been pretty consistent all throughout our forecast today. So something to think about in terms. I'm seeing some people are saying Vogertown is just over Clay Line. Fields are flooding. So definitely a lot of issues across the area. So I wanted to show you one more time what your First Alert Weather Radar Network looks like. Y'all, I know I'm about to end our Facebook Live, but if you guys have any questions or comments, I'll go back and I'll scroll through and I'll do my best to answer everyone's questions and concerns. If you have a question about your specific area, if you have an image that you want to share with KYT, please feel free to mention it in the comments. That way we can keep everyone weather aware and weather informed. For those who are worried about WKYT coverage, don't worry, we got our whole weather team coming in. Jim and Chris are going to be on their way in here in just a couple minutes, and we've got Ben Beddoes who's going to be coming in. We're monitoring this to make sure we're keeping everyone safe. When I was on the phone with some Breathitt County emergency management officials earlier, they were saying, remember, it's not just about the heavy rain you see now. It's also about the overnight and the aftermath as that river flows and rushes down. So areas like Breathitt County and Jackson, that's where we're talking about seeing the Kentucky River crest, but it's delayed. It's after the storm. So even though our heavy rain is going to wrap up by the time we're talking towards tomorrow morning and shift into colder weather, we're going to see parts of the Kentucky River, the Cumberland River, and a lot of those creeks that have been spouting off, like parts of Elkhorn Creek. We've been seeing some issues because of how high that water's running. So just watch out, be weather aware, stick with your KYT weather team. We're going to continue to keep you all updated. And again, if y'all have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them down below. I'll circle back, but thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone.